I've signed the divorce papers, the house, the car, and the salary. I'm leaving everything to you. I'm walking away with nothing. I handed the pen to Tobias. But Tobias, are you really willing to throw away our 8 years together for her? Tobias took the pen, a flicker of reluctance in his eyes. Sui, once I get the promotion, we can remarry, okay? I laughed. In my past life, I believed those words, only to receive an invitation to his wedding with Lena Fang. This time, I'll make sure he understands. Some people, once lost, are gone forever. Spring 1978, the military compound in City S. I walked home from the well carrying a thermos, the spring breeze still carrying a biting chill. From the front yard came the voices of Tobias and Lena Fang. Tobias, my dad said, as long as you divorce that educated youth, you'll be transferred to headquarters immediately. Limitless prospects ahead. Lena Fang's coquettish voice made me stop in my tracks. But Sui, she. Tobias' voice was hesitant. She's just an educated youth. Is she worthy of you? Besides, it's only a fake divorce. You can remarry once you get promoted. I gripped the handle of the thermos tightly, my knuckles turning white. In my past life, it was after overhearing this conversation that I was deceived by Tobias' sweet talk into signing the divorce papers. And then what? After being transferred to the headquarters, he immediately married Lena Fang, while I, his ex-wife, was kicked out and eventually died alone in a rented apartment. The heavens gave me a chance to start over, and this time, I will never be a fool again. I deliberately made footsteps, and the two immediately stopped talking. Tobias walked out of the room, dressed in a crisp military uniform with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, truly a man who could make hearts flutter. Sui, you're back. He came over to take the thermos from my hands. I avoided his hand. No need, I can do it myself. After entering the house, I pretended to know nothing and started cooking. Tobias paced behind me, hesitating several times as if wanting to say something. Sui, there's something I need to discuss with you. He finally spoke up. I kept chopping vegetables. What is it? The organization is transferring me to headquarters. But, he paused, but our marriage might affect my career prospects. So, I put down the kitchen knife and turned to face him. Tobias took a deep breath. Let's get a temporary divorce first. Once I've established myself at headquarters, I'll bring you over immediately to remarry. I looked into his sincere eyes and sneered inwardly. In my past life, I was fooled by those very eyes. A temporary divorce. I feigned shock. Tobias, do you realize what you're saying? Sui, this is just a temporary measure. Don't you know how I feel about you? Tobias walked over to hug me, but I pushed him away. No, I don't agree. I shook my head firmly. A hint of impatience flashed across Tobias' face, but he quickly regained his gentle expression. Sui, you have to trust me. I would never let you down. How about this? I'll give you the house, savings, and all the furniture in the divorce agreement. I'll leave with nothing. I deliberately remained silent for a long time, letting him think I was considering it. In reality, I was thinking that in my past life, he had said the same thing, but after the divorce, the house was taken by Lena Fang's people, and the savings had long been transferred. In the end, I got nothing. This time, I'll make him taste the bitterness of losing everything. I need a few days to think about it, I finally said. Tobias breathed a sigh of relief. All right, take your time to consider. But don't take too long. The transfer order will be issued next month. That night, Tobias was writing materials in the study, while I lay in bed formulating my own plan. The greatest advantage my rebirth gave me was foresight. I knew that Lena Fang's father, Deputy Commander Fang, was under investigation for charges of corruption and bribery. I know Tobias has done many illegal and disciplinary things behind the scenes to curry favor with the Fang family. I also know there will be a severe rectification campaign next month. This time, I will make all of them pay the price. Early the next morning, Tobias hurriedly left the house. After he left, I immediately went to the post office and sent a complaint letter to several departments in Beijing. The letter detailed the evidence of Deputy Commander Fang's corruption and bribery, as well as Tobias unscrupulous actions to secure promotions. In my past life, I was a military family member and knew all about these matters. After mailing the letters, I went to the bank and withdrew all the family savings, depositing them under my brother Lin Dashan's name. Lin Dashan is a demobilized soldier who works at a military factory, known for his integrity and reliability. Little sister, why did you suddenly transfer the money to me? Lin Dashan asked in confusion. Brother, Tobias and I might be getting a divorce. I deliberately put on a sad expression. What? Did that bastard bully you? Lin Dashan instantly became furious, rolling up his sleeves ready to confront Tobias Shin. I grabbed him. Bro, don't be impulsive, he wants a fake divorce. Says it's for his career, and that we'll remarry after he gets promoted. Bullshit. Since when does that make sense? Lin Dashan stomped his feet in anger. Little sister, you mustn't agree to this. A man like this isn't worth keeping. I nodded. You're right, bro, that's why I need to prepare for both outcomes. Please hold on to this money for me first. If we really do divorce, at least I won't be left with nothing. Lin Dashan looked at me with heartache. Don't worry, little sister. As long as I'm here, no one can bully you. After leaving the bank, I went to the store to buy some daily necessities and fabric. Since I'm acting, I might as well go all the way. I want Tobias Shun to think I've wavered and started preparing for life after divorce. Sure enough, when Tobias Shun came home that evening and saw what I had bought, a hint of smugness flashed in his eyes. Sui, have you made up your mind? He asked tentatively. I sighed. Tobias, can you really guarantee you'll bring me over after transferring to headquarters? I swear, I'll never let you down, Tobias Shun immediately declared. I pretended to hesitate before nodding. All right then, but I have a few conditions. You said it. First, the house and savings must indeed all go to me. Second, the divorce agreement must state that this is a fake divorce, and you must guarantee we'll remarry within a year. Third, before we remarry, you cannot have any affairs with other women. Tobias Shun agreed without hesitation. No problem, I agree to all of it, I sneered inwardly. In my past life, he had also agreed so readily, yet in the end, he failed to keep a single promise. In this life, I'll make sure he learns what it means to hoist with his own petard. Then let's go through the formalities tomorrow. I deliberately put on a brave front. Tobias Shun was so overjoyed he nearly jumped up. Great, we'll go tomorrow. Sui, you're truly a wonderful wife. Once I succeed, I'll make it up to you properly. I nodded, but in my heart I thought, make it up to me. You'll never get the chance in this lifetime. That evening, I deliberately prepared a table full of delicious dishes, saying it was to celebrate Tobias Shun's upcoming promotion. Tobias Shun drank a bit too much and, emboldened by the alcohol, hugged me while saying many overly affectionate words. I took careful note of each one, as they would serve as evidence in the future. While Tobias Shun was drunk and barely conscious, I secretly took several important documents from his briefcase. These documents record his private dealings with Deputy Commander Fang, serving as perfect evidence. I photographed the contents of the documents with my camera and then quietly returned them to their original place. Tobias Shun remained completely unaware, still drunkenly promising a bright future. Watching his drunken state, I felt not a shred of pity in my heart. In my past life, it was because I was too kind and trusted his words too much that I ended up in such a state. In this life, I will never make the same mistake again. The next morning, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The divorce agreement was quickly settled. Just as Tobias Shun promised, the house, savings, and furniture were all given to me. Looking at the divorce certificate in my hand, I deliberately shed tears. Sui, don't cry, we'll remarry soon. Tobias Shun comforted me, though his eyes were filled with excitement. I nodded. I know, I just can't bear it. As soon as we left the Civil Affairs office, Tobias Shun hurried off to share the good news with Lena Fang. I got home and immediately started packing my bags. Since we're already divorced, of course I can't continue living here. Besides, my plan has only just begun. While I was packing, Auntie Liu from next door came over. Sui, I heard you and Xiaoshan got divorced, Aunt Liu asked with a gossipy expression. Yes, Aunt Liu, I deliberately put on a sad face. Oh dear, why is that? Weren't you two lovebirds doing just fine? I wiped my tears. He said it was a fake divorce, for a promotion. We'll remarry once he gets transferred to headquarters. Aunt Liu exploded upon hearing this. What? How could this happen? This Tobias Shun is really too much. I knew Aunt Liu was the broadcasting station of our compound. Soon this matter would spread throughout the entire military district. Sure enough, in less than half a day, The news of Tobias Shen's fake divorce had spread throughout the compound. Many military wives came to comfort me, cursing Tobias Shen for being heartless. Some people advised me never to remarry him, saying such a man isn't worth entrusting my life to. Outwardly, I thanked everyone for their concern, but inwardly, I was secretly pleased. The power of public opinion is terrifying. It could greatly damage Tobias Shen's reputation. More importantly, this laid the foundation for my next plan. That afternoon, Tobias Shen rushed back in a hurry, looking very upset. "Sui, how could you tell others about our fake divorce?" he angrily questioned me. Feigning innocence, I said. "I didn't," Auntie Liu asked, "and I just told the truth." Tobias Shen was so angry he couldn't speak. I continued packing my luggage. "Anyway, we're already divorced. Whatever I say is my freedom." Tobias Shen looked at my luggage. "Where are you moving to?" "My brother's place." I said without looking up. "I can't keep living here with you. It would affect your relationship with Lena Fang." At the mention of Lena Fang, Tobias Shen's face darkened even more. "Sui, stop talking nonsense. Lena and I are just friends." I sneered. "Really? Then why did you go straight to her to share the good news after the divorce?" Tobias Shen was left speechless by my words. I dragged my suitcase to the door and glanced back at him. "Tobias Shen, remember your promise today, to remarry within a year. If you dare go back on your word, I will never let you off." With that, I walked away without looking back from the home I had lived in for 8 years. Tobias Shen stood at the doorway, watching my retreating figure, lost in thought. I wonder what expression he would have if he knew I had already mailed a whistleblower letter to Beijing. On the third day of moving into my brother's house, I received an unexpected phone call. "May I speak to Comrade Sui Shen? This is Old Wang from the Military District's Discipline Inspection Commission. There's something I'd like to ask you about." "It's here." I pretended to stay calm. "All right, when?" "Come to the Disciplinary Inspection Office in the military compound at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." After hanging up the phone, I took a deep breath. The whistleblower letter had worked. I remembered this moment clearly from my past life. It was precisely at this time that the higher-ups began investigating Deputy Commander Fang's issues. As Tobias Shen was a close confidant of Deputy Commander Fang, he naturally fell within the scope of the investigation. However, in my previous life, I knew nothing, and the investigation ended without any results. In this life, I will make sure they all receive the punishment they deserve. The next morning, I arrived at the disciplinary inspection office on time. The person who received me was a middle-aged man in his 50s, wearing glasses and looking very serious. "Comrade Sui Shen, please have a seat." Old Wang pointed to the chair opposite. I sat down, pretending to be nervous. "We've received a report alleging that Comrade Tobias Shen has engaged in some illegal and disciplinary violations. We'd like to understand the situation." "What report?" I feigned surprise. Old Wang pulled out a letter. "This one." The informant knew Tobias Shen's situation in great detail, signed as "A Righteous Soldier." I took the letter and looked at it. It was the one I had sent. "I don't know anything about it, but..." I hesitated for a moment. "Feel free to speak your mind. The organization will protect whistleblowers." I put on a troubled expression. "Comrade Laro Wang, to be honest, Tobias Shen and I just got divorced." Laro Wang was stunned. "Divorced? Why?" He said it was a fake divorce, for a promotion. He claimed Deputy Commander Fang's daughter took a liking to him and would only help with his transfer if he divorced me. Old Wang's expression immediately turned serious. "Do you have any evidence?" I took out a recorder from my bag. "This is a recording of his conversation with Lena Fang that I secretly made." Pressing the play button, clear voices emerged. "Tobias," my dad said, "as long as you divorce that educated youth, you can be transferred to headquarters immediately. But Sui, she's just an educated youth by background. Is she really worthy of you? Besides, it's just a fake divorce. You can remarry once you get promoted." Old Wang's expression grew increasingly grim. "And there's this." I took out a few more photos. These are pictures of Tobias Shen giving gifts to Deputy Commander Fang. I secretly took all of them. The photo clearly shows Tobias Shen presenting a beautifully wrapped gift to Deputy Commander Fang, with the time and location clearly visible. These gifts are quite valuable, all purchased by Tobias Shen using public funds, I continued. Old Wang examined the photo carefully. "How do you know they were bought with public funds?" because I'm his wife, and I'm well aware of our household finances. His salary alone couldn't afford these items. Yet there's definitely this expenditure in the account. I took out a small notebook. This is my record of household income and expenses. Every single transaction is documented. Old Wang took the notebook and flipped through it, his expression growing increasingly serious. Comrade Suishan, why are you reporting your husband? I put on a pained expression. Comrade Old Wang, I don't want to do this either, but I can't stand by and watch him sink deeper. As a party member, it's my duty to uphold the party's integrity. Besides, he would even abandon his wife for a promotion. What wouldn't a person like that do? Old Wang nodded. You're right. Do you have any other evidence? I took out copies of several more documents. These are files from his briefcase, recording some secret dealings between him and Deputy Commander Fang. Old Wang took the documents, and his expression completely changed. The contents recorded in these documents are shocking, involving various aspects such as engineering contracts, personnel arrangements, and material procurement. Each item involves serious violations of laws and disciplinary regulations. How did you obtain these documents? Old Wang asked sternly. Tobias Shen was drunk, and I took them from his briefcase to make copies, I answered honestly. Old Wang remained silent for a long time, then said, Comrade Sui Shen, the evidence you've provided is very important, but you must be mentally prepared. This matter may cause a huge uproar. I know, but I'm not afraid, I said firmly. For the sake of the party and the people's interests, I am willing to bear all consequences. Old Wang was moved by my words. Good, you are a true comrade. We will thoroughly investigate this evidence. There's one more thing, I added. I've heard that Deputy Commander Fang has deposits abroad, and I have some leads on the account information. Old Wang perked up immediately. Speak quickly. I took out a slip of paper from my bag. This is an account information I accidentally came across. Seems to be Deputy Commander Fang's account in a Swiss bank. This information came from my memories of a past life, when this case was exposed back then. The media had reported the details. Old Wang took the slip of paper as if he had found a treasure. Excellent. This is crucial evidence. The conversation lasted a full 2 hours, and I handed over all the evidence I could provide to the organization. Walking out of the disciplinary inspection office, I felt a wave of relief. Now, it's time to sit back and watch the show. Sure enough, that very afternoon, Tobias Shen was summoned for a talk. He returned home in the evening, his face ashen. I happened to be fetching the remaining luggage when I ran into him in the hallway. Was it you who reported me? He asked through gritted teeth, feigning surprise. I replied, What report? I have no idea what you're talking about. Stop pretending. Who else would know so many inside details besides you? I sneered. Tobias Shen, you know exactly what you've done. Those who do evil will inevitably face retribution. This is karma. Tobias Shen was so angry he reached out to hit me. Just then, Lin Dashan came upstairs and immediately rushed over upon seeing this scene. Tobias Shen, how dare you lay a finger on my sister? Seeing Lin Dashan's burly figure, Tobias Shen reluctantly lowered his hand. Sui Shen, just you wait, I won't let you off the hook. He spat out viciously before turning and entering the house. Lin Dashan looked at me with concern. Little sister, did he hurt you? It's all right, bro. I shook my head. Let's go, back at my brother's place. I told him about what happened today. Lin Dashan clapped his hands in approval after hearing it. Sis, you did the right thing. Scum like that deserve to face the law. Bro, there might be a lot of trouble coming our way. Aren't you afraid? I asked worriedly. What is there to fear? We are doing the right thing. So what is there to fear? Lin Dashan said, thumping his chest. Besides, I'm still a party member. Even if the sky were to fall, I would stand on the side of justice. With my brother's support, my conviction grew even stronger. In the following days, undercurrents surged within the military compound. Disciplinary inspection officials came and went frequently, seeking out various relevant individuals to gather information. Deputy Commander Fang and Tobias Shen have both been restricted in their activities and suspended pending investigation. Lina Fang has also been called in for questioning several times, each time emerging pale-faced. As for me, as a key witness, I have also been placed under protection. The organization has specifically assigned 2 comrades to ensure my safety, preventing any potential retaliation against me. On the 5th day, there was a major breakthrough. Lara Wang came to see me in person, his face filled with excitement. Comrade Sui-shen, the clues you provided are extremely important. We've discovered Deputy Commander Fang's massive overseas deposits, totaling over $500,000 in those days. That was an absolutely astronomical sum. Moreover, we've found evidence that Tobias Shen abused his position to help Deputy Commander Fang transfer assets. This time, they won't be able to escape justice. I pretended to be pleased. That's great, justice is finally being served. However, old Wang's expression turned serious again. Deputy Commander Fang might resort to desperate measures. You need to be careful. I know, I'll stay vigilant. Sure enough, that very evening, unidentified individuals came snooping around my brother's house for information. Fortunately, the protection personnel arranged by the organization noticed them in time, preventing any incident. The next day, Deputy Commander Fang was formally arrested. When the news spread, the entire military compound was in an uproar. Deputy Commander Fang, that big tiger, has finally been caught, and Tobias Shen, as Deputy Commander Fang's main accomplice, has also been handed over to the judicial authorities. Standing on the balcony of my brother's house, I watched the bustling scene in the military compound with mixed emotions. In my past life, due to ignorance and kindness, I became a pawn in the hands of these scoundrels. In this life, I will make them pay the price they deserve. Tobias Shen, this is just the beginning. The day after Tobias Shen was taken away, Lena Fang actually came knocking on my door. She was wearing a black coat, her face pale, with red and swollen eyes. Clearly, she had been crying. Sui-shen, I need to talk to you. She stood at the door of my brother's house, her tone pleading. I let her in and poured her a glass of water. Go ahead, what is it? I deliberately acted cold. Lena Fang held the water glass with both hands. I know it was you who reported my dad and Tobias. So what? Please, withdraw the report. Lena Fang suddenly knelt down. My dad has already been arrested. Tobias is in too. What more do you want? I looked at Lena Fang kneeling on the ground, feeling not a shred of sympathy in my heart. In my past life, it was this very woman who, fully aware that Tobias Shen had a wife, still seduced him into a fake divorce. In the end, she not only stole my husband but also left me with nothing, destroying my family and my life. Lena Fang, do you really think that's possible? I sneered. You and your father engaged in embezzlement and bribery, and Tobias Shen knowingly broke the law. These are indisputable facts. But Tobias loves me. He did all this for our future. Lena Fang sobbed. For your future? I laughed bitterly. Then what about me? What does that make me, his lawful wife? Lena Fang was left speechless by my question. Moreover, I continued, love is not an excuse for crime. What kind of logic is it to justify embezzlement and bribery, or deceiving one's wife, all in the name of so-called love? Lena Fang looked up at me, her eyes brimming with tears. But you've already divorced him. Why must you be so relentless? Divorce? I sneered. That was a sham divorce, forced upon me by you. Now that trouble has arisen, you want to wash your hands of it completely. Sui-shen, I know you hate me, but Tobias truly loves you. Look, he gave you all his assets in the divorce agreement. Doesn't that prove anything? I almost burst out laughing. In my past life, I was fooled by such sweet talk into believing Tobias Shen truly loved me. And what happened? All those assets turned out to be fake. The house was repossessed, the savings were transferred, and in the end I was left with nothing. Lena Fang, do you really take me for a 3-year-old? I stood up, looking down at her. Those assets were all fake, weren't they? The property deed was temporary, and the savings had long been transferred. Lena Fang's face instantly turned deathly pale. How did you know? Because I'm not a fool, I said coldly. Did you think your little game was clever? It doesn't work on me. Lena Fang was completely devastated and collapsed onto the floor. Now you're scared. I crouched down to look at her. Did you ever think this day would come when you seduced my husband? I didn't seduce him. He was the one who pursued me first. Lena Fang tried to defend herself. So what? You knew he was married yet still got involved with him. That's your fault. Lena Fang cried even harder. I truly love him. I've liked him since middle school. Why are you trying to ruin us? Ruin? I laughed bitterly at her shamelessness. It's clearly you two who ruined my marriage. And now you're turning the tables on me. Besides, Does true love drive people to commit crimes? Does it make them harm the innocent? What you have is not love, but selfishness and greed. Lena Fang was left speechless by my words and could only cry helplessly. At that moment, Lin Dashan returned from outside and immediately understood the situation upon seeing the scene. What is this woman doing here? He asked with a frown. Come beg me to withdraw the report, I said nonchalantly. Dream on. Lin Dashan roared. You reap what you sow. That's only right and proper. Seeing Lin Dashan, Lena Fang grew even more desperate. She knew that given Lin Dashan's temperament, there was absolutely no way he would let me compromise. Suishan, I beg you, for the sake of the friendship we once had. Lena Fang made one last attempt. Friends, I sneered. Do friends steal each other's husbands? Lena Fang was completely speechless. I walked to the door and opened it. Please leave. We have nothing more to discuss. Lena Fang gave me a desperate look, slowly stood up, and staggered out. Watching her retreating figure, I felt not a shred of pity in my heart. In my past life, it was precisely because I was too kind, too easily taken advantage of, that I ended up with such a fate. In this life, I will never be soft-hearted again. Closing the door, Lin Dashan patted me on the shoulder. Girl, you did the right thing. You can't go easy on people like that. I nodded, silently vowing to myself, Tobias Shin, your retribution has only just begun. That afternoon, I received a call from my lawyer friend, Sui. Tobias Shin asked me to pass on a message. He wants to meet with you. See me, I sneered. Does he still have the face to see me now? He said he has something very important to tell you, about your divorce. My heart stirred. When? Tomorrow afternoon, at the detention center visiting room. Okay, I'll go. After hanging up the phone, I started to think about what Tobias Shin wanted to say. From what I know of him, he would never admit defeat so easily. This meeting must have some kind of scheme behind it, but I'm not afraid. My past life experiences have given me complete insight into his thoughts. This time, I'm going to make him utterly despair. The next afternoon, I arrived at the detention center right on time. In the visitation room, I saw a haggard-looking Tobias Shin. In just a few days, he looked as if he had aged 10 years, with disheveled hair, a scruffy beard, and bloodshot eyes. Sui, you're finally here, Tobias Shin said excitedly, standing up when he saw me. Sit down, the prison guard barked. Tobias Shin had no choice but to sit back down, but his eyes remained fixed on me. What do you want to say? I got straight to the point. Sui, I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Tobias Shin's voice was choked with sobs. Now you know you were wrong, it's too late. I said coldly. No, it's not too late, Tobias Shin said excitedly. Listen to me. I can tell you all the truth, including what other secret assets Deputy Commander Fang has. I sneered inwardly. This was his scheme. He wanted to use this information to buy my forgiveness, then have me help reduce his culpability. And then, what do you want? I asked, feigning ignorance. I hope you can testify for me in court, proving I was coerced, Tobias Shin said urgently. If you help me, we can start over. Start over? I was shocked by his audacity. Tobias Shin, do you really think that's possible? Why not? We used to love each other so much. Love, I interrupted him. Would a man who truly loves his wife fake a divorce for his career? Would he abandon her for another woman? Tobias Shin was left speechless by my words. Moreover, I continued, do you really think those assets were actually given to me? The property deed was fake, the deposits were transferred by you, and in the end, I got nothing. Tobias Shin's face instantly turned pale. You knew all along. I know far more than you can imagine, I said with a cold smile. Including your plan with Lena Fang to abscond with the money. Tobias Shin was completely panicked. No, Sui, let me explain. Explain what? Explain how you tricked me into signing a fake divorce agreement. Explain how you planned to push me aside. Tobias Shin wanted to defend himself, but seeing my cold gaze, all his words got stuck in his throat. Tobias Shin, remember, all of this was your own choice. I stood up to leave. Since you chose betrayal, you must bear the consequences. Sui, don't go. Tobias Shin stood up in agitation. I truly know I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. Chance? I turned back to look at him. You've already used up all your chances in your past life. What past life? Tobias Shin looked utterly confused. Realizing I had slipped up, I quickly corrected myself. I mean, in our relationship, you've already used up all your chances. Sui, we can start over again. Tobias Shun shouted desperately. I walked towards the door without looking back. It's never going to happen again. Stepping out of the detention center, I took a deep breath of fresh air. Tobias Shun, you finally got what you deserved. On my way back from the detention center, I ran into an unexpected person. Mrs. Shun. She sat on the stone steps at the entrance of the military compound, her hair gray, her back looking desolate. Upon seeing me, she immediately stood up. Sui, you've finally returned. I stopped in my tracks, looking at her coldly. In my past life, this mother-in-law had not treated me well, always believing I wasn't good enough for her precious son. Now that something has happened to her son, she remembers me, her former daughter-in-law. Is there something you need? I asked in a flat tone. Mrs. Shun walked over and scrutinized me carefully. Sui, you've lost weight, thanks to your son. I retorted without hesitation. A hint of embarrassment flashed across Mrs. Shun's face. Sui, I know Tobias wronged you, but what about now? Now he regrets it. I sneered. Where was this concern earlier? Sui, listen to me. Mrs. Shun grabbed my hand. Tobias has been spoiled by me since childhood, acting without considering consequences, but is not inherently bad. This time he was just led astray by that Lena Fang. I shook off her hand. Auntie Shun, that's not fair to say. No one forced him to betray his marriage. No one forced him to embezzle and take bribes. These were all his own choices. But he truly loves you. Mrs. Shun said urgently. Look, he gave you all the property in the divorce agreement. Gave me everything. I laughed bitterly at her words. Do you really think those assets are genuine? Mrs. Shun froze. What do you mean? The property deeds are fake. The savings have been transferred, and I got nothing. I said coldly. Your son and Lena Fang put on quite a show, making a fool out of me. Mrs. Shun's face instantly turned deathly pale. This can't be possible. Don't believe me. You can check with the housing authority, I said mockingly. That apartment was transferred to Lena Fang long ago. Mrs. Shun staggered back a few steps. Impossible. Tobias wouldn't do this. That's the truth, I said mercilessly. Your precious son, for the sake of his future, not only planned a sham divorce with me but also schemed to take all my assets. If I hadn't discovered it in advance, I'd be left with nothing now. Shun's mother was completely stunned, standing there in a daze. Aunt Shun, you should go back, I said, preparing to leave. I can't help with your son's matter. Sui, Shun's mother suddenly grabbed my arm. Please, I beg you, save Tobias. He may have done wrong, but he's still your husband. Husband, I sneered. We're already divorced. He has nothing to do with me now. That was a fake divorce. Shun's mother was on the verge of tears. You'll get back together. Get back together. I was stunned by her naivety. Aunt Shun, do you really think that's possible? A man who abandoned his wife for another woman. A criminal guilty of embezzlement and bribery. Do you think I'd still want him? Shun's mother was left speechless by my words. Besides, I continued, even if I wanted to help him, I couldn't. The law treats everyone equally. He committed a crime and must face the consequences. Mother Shun despairingly released my arm. Then, what should I do? Looking at her aged face, a wave of sympathy rose in my heart. After all, she is also a victim, implicated by her own son, Mother Shun. You should think about how to protect yourself, I advised. Tobias Shun's matter involves serious implications. You need to be mentally prepared. With that, I left without looking back. Returning to my brother's house, I told Lin Dashan about my encounter with Shun's mother. That old woman is also a pitiful soul. Lin Dashan shook his head and sighed. To raise such a son and suffer like this in her old age. Indeed, but no one else is to blame for this, I said calmly. A child spoiled from childhood is bound to cause trouble sooner or later when grown up. You're right, girl. Lin Dashan nodded in agreement. But speaking of which, how's the progress on Tobias Shun's case? It should go to trial soon, I said. Old Wang from the disciplinary committee mentioned the evidence is solid. There's no way he can escape. Sure enough, news came the next day that Tobias Shun's case would be tried in court the following week, as a key witness. I needed to testify in court. The news spread quickly, causing a sensation throughout the military compound. This was the largest corruption case in the military region since the reform and opening up. drawing high-level attention from leaders at all levels. Many journalists rushed to cover the story, eager to learn the details of the case. As a key witness, I naturally became the center of attention, but the organization protected me well and didn't let the reporters disturb me. The day before the trial, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Suishan, this is Lena Fang. What do you want? I asked coldly. Are you testifying in court tomorrow? Lena Fang's voice was hoarse. I'm begging you one last time. Please show some mercy. Impossible. I flatly refused. See you in court. Wait. Lena Fang said urgently. Do you realize that if Tobias is convicted, you won't fare well either? What do you mean? Think about it. How will society view a woman who reports her own husband? Lena Fang said venomously. You'll be despised by everyone. I was shocked by her shamelessness. Lena Fang, you really won't give up until you see the coffin. At this point, you still want to threaten me. I'm not threatening you. I'm reminding you, Lena Fang sneered. A woman who betrays her husband is unwanted by any man. Then I should thank you for the reminder. I mocked, but rest assured, I'd rather stay single for life than be with a criminal. I hung up the phone before she could finish speaking. Lena Fang's words, though vicious, reminded me of a harsh reality. In those days, women who reported their husbands indeed faced tremendous social pressure. But I'm not afraid, because I'm doing the right thing. Moreover, my past life experience has taught me that some paths are meant to be walked alone. That evening, I went to bed early to prepare for the next day's court hearing. In my dream, I returned to my past life, witnessing Tobias Shun and Lena Fang's wedding, and seeing myself die alone in a rented room. When I woke up, the pillow was already soaked with tears, but my heart was more resolute than ever. Tomorrow is the day I seek justice for my past self. Tobias Shun, face the judgment you deserve. On the day of the trial, the sky was overcast, as if even the heavens were brewing something for this judgment. A large crowd gathered outside the courthouse. Reporters, onlookers, and even military officers and soldiers. I entered the courtroom through a side door, accompanied by a comrade arranged by the organization. The courtroom was solemn and dignified, with the red national emblem hanging high above the judge's bench. I sat in the witness stand, watching Tobias Shun being brought into the courtroom. In just half a month, he had become a completely different person. His once upright frame had become hunched, and his once radiant eyes had grown dull. When he saw me, a complex mix of emotions flickered in his eyes. Anger, pleading, but above all, despair. The presiding judge struck the gavel. Court is now in session. The entire courtroom fell silent in an instant. The prosecutor first read the indictment, charging Tobias Shun with multiple crimes including embezzlement, bribery, and abuse of power. Each charge was supported by detailed facts and evidence, leaving Tobias Shun with no room for rebuttal. Call witness Sui Shun to testify, announced the presiding judge. I stood up, walked to the witness stand, and raised my right hand to take the oath. I swear that I will provide truthful testimony, without concealment or distortion of the facts. After the oath was completed, the prosecutor began the questioning. Witness, please state your relationship with the defendant. I am Tobias Shun's ex-wife. We completed the divorce procedures last month. I answered calmly. Please state the reason for your divorce. I took a deep breath, because Tobias Shun requested a fake divorce, claiming it was necessary for a promotion. He said we would remarry after he was transferred to headquarters. A murmur spread through the courtroom. Do you have any evidence to prove this was a fake divorce? I took out the recorder. This is a secret recording of his conversation with Lena Fang. The recording played, and the clear dialogue echoed through the courtroom. Tobias, my dad said, as long as you divorce that educated youth, you can be transferred to headquarters immediately. But Sui, she's just an educated youth from the countryside. Is she really worthy of you? Besides, it's just a fake divorce. You can remarry once you get promoted. Upon hearing this recording, the courtroom erupted in uproar. Tobias Shun's face turned deathly pale. He wanted to defend himself, but his lawyer stopped him. Witness, the defendant transferred all the property to you in the divorce agreement. What does this indicate? The defense lawyer attempted to advocate for Tobias Shun. I sneered. All those assets were fake. The property deed was temporarily forged, and the deposits had been transferred in advance. I actually got nothing. Do you have proof? I pulled out a stack of documents. This is the Housing Authority's investigation result. That property was transferred to Lena Fang long before the divorce. Here are the bank statements showing the deposits were transferred a week before the divorce. The defense lawyer was left speechless. Witness: why did you report the defendant? The prosecutor continued to question. Because I couldn't stand by and watch him sink deeper, I said firmly. As a party member, I have a duty to uphold the party's integrity. Besides, someone who would abandon his own wife for a promotion, what wouldn't he be capable of? Witness: do you still have feelings for the defendant? This was an unexpected question. I paused for a moment before replying resolutely. There was a time when I did. But the moment he chose betrayal, all those feelings died. Now, all I feel for him is disappointment and anger. Tobias Shun trembled violently upon hearing these words, tears welling up in his eyes. Witness: please elaborate on the defendant's criminal acts in detail. For the next hour, I meticulously recounted the various illegal actions Tobias Shun had taken to curry favor with Deputy Commander Fang, from accepting bribes to laundering illicit funds, from forging documents to intimidating witnesses. Each and every act was supported by detailed evidence. The courtroom was dead silent, everyone shocked by these horrifying facts. Witness: you just mentioned that the defendant once threatened you. Please elaborate in detail. I recalled my past life experiences. After I reported him, he threatened to make it impossible for me to stay in this city. He even said he would ruin my family and leave me with nothing. Do you have any evidence? There are neighbors who can testify. They all heard it. The presiding judge turned to Tobias Shun. Defendant: do you have anything to say in response to the witness's testimony? Tobias Shun stood up, his voice trembling. I admit I was wrong, but I truly love Sui. Everything I did was to give her a better life, to give me a better life. I couldn't help but stand up. Tobias Shun: you're lying through your teeth. Everything you did was for your own future. For Lena Fang. No, Sui, let me explain. Explain what? Explain how you tricked me into signing a fake divorce agreement. Explain how you and Lena Fang planned to abandon me. My voice grew louder. Did you think I didn't know? You planned to take my assets and then kick me out, so you and Lena Fang could fly off together. Tobias Shun was left speechless by my words. Slumping into the defendant's seat, the presiding judge struck the gavel. Order in the court. The witness will please sit down. I sat back down, but the anger in my heart still wouldn't subside. Defendant: do you have anything else to say? Tobias Shun looked at me, his eyes brimming with tears. Sui, I know you hate me, but please believe me. My love for you was real. Enough. I stood up again. Tobias Shun, stop insulting the word love. What is true love? It's the promise to stand by each other for a lifetime, the steadfastness to weather storms together, the genuine bond of sharing hardships. And what about you? You wanted a fake divorce for a promotion, betrayed your principles to curry favor with superiors, and cheated on our marriage for another woman. Is this love? This is selfishness, greed, shamelessness. My words were sharp and piercing, moving everyone in the courtroom. Tobias Shun was utterly devastated. He knew he had lost me forever. Court is adjourned. The trial will resume this afternoon, announced the presiding judge. During the lunch break, I sat alone on the steps outside the courtroom, feeling a mix of emotions. While seeing Tobias Shun face legal consequences gave me a sense of relief, thinking about the good times we once shared still brought some sadness to my heart. After all, we truly loved each other once. It's just that some mistakes, once made, can never be undone. Lin Dasan came over and sat beside me. Little sister, you spoke very well just now. That kind of man deserves it, brother. Do you think I did the right thing? I asked, feeling somewhat lost. Of course you did, Lin Dasan said firmly. You upheld justice and defended the dignity of the law. What's wrong with that? But after all, we were once husband and wife. Husband and wife. Lin Dasan sneered. Did he ever treat you as his wife? He wanted a fake divorce for a promotion, then betrayed the marriage for another woman. Is that what you call a husband and wife? I nodded. Brother, you're right. The afternoon court session grew even more intense. Deputy Commander Fang was also brought to court, standing trial as a co-conspirator. Seeing this once mighty official now in such a pitiful state fills my heart with endless emotions. Power is truly a double-edged sword. Used well, it benefits the people. Used poorly, it destroys oneself. Finally, the court pronounced the verdict in open court. Tobias Shin is guilty of embezzlement, bribery, and abuse of power. Considering the combined penalties for multiple offenses, he is sentenced to 15 years in prison, deprived of political rights for 5 years, and all personal property is to be confiscated. Deputy Commander Fang was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the crimes of embezzlement and bribery, deprived of political rights for life, and all personal property was confiscated. Upon hearing the verdict, Tobias Shin completely broke down, wailing uncontrollably in the courtroom, "Sui, Sui. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me." He desperately called out my name. I sat in the witness stand, watching him quietly, without a ripple of emotion in my heart. In my past life, I paid for his betrayal with my life. This time, it's his turn to face the consequences of his choices. After the verdict took effect, my life didn't immediately return to peace. As the key witness in this nationwide corruption scandal, I became the focus of media attention. The case has been widely covered by various newspapers and magazines, with my name frequently appearing in the news. Some praised me for placing righteousness above family loyalty, upholding the dignity of the law. Others criticized me for betraying my husband, violating traditional ethical norms. In response to these controversies, I chose to remain silent. I know what I did was right, and that's enough. What's more important is that through this incident, I've seen the true colors of many people. Ever since her son was sentenced, Shin's mother has never come to see me again. She probably resents me, thinking that I'm the one who ruined her son. I don't really care about this. After all, I no longer have any connection with the Shin family. However, some of the veteran cadres in the military district have been very kind to me, considering me a principled and good comrade. They even took the initiative to find me a job, hoping I could start a new life. Comrade Sui, your performance has been outstanding, the military district political commissar said during our talk. The organization has decided to transfer you to work in the municipal party committee's propaganda department. How does that sound? I thought about it and nodded in agreement. This is indeed a good opportunity for a fresh start. On the day I left the military compound, I packed my belongings with mixed emotions. There were too many memories here, some sweet, some painful. However, I knew it was time to bid farewell to the past and embrace the future. Just as I was about to leave, I unexpectedly received a letter. The sender was Tobias Shin. After a moment of hesitation, I still opened the envelope. The letter was long, filled with regret and self-reproach. He said he knew he was wrong, that he was sorry for what he did to me, and that losing me was the biggest regret of his life. He also said he would reform himself in prison, hoping to become a better person one day. In the end, he asked for my forgiveness, even if it was only in my heart. After reading the letter, I felt nothing. He had said these words in his previous life as well, but actions speak louder than words. His actions have already proven that he is not a trustworthy person. I tore the letter into tiny pieces and threw it into the trash bin. Some people, some things, should be completely forgotten. On my first day reporting to the municipal party committee's propaganda department, I encountered an unexpected person, my university classmate Jong Ji-Yuan. "Sui, is it really you?" he exclaimed in pleasant surprise as he walked over. "This is wonderful. I never thought we'd be working together again." Jong Ji-Yuan is an outstanding man. He was the student council president in college and is now the deputy director of the publicity department. He expressed sympathy for my situation and also praised my courage. "Sui, you did the right thing," he said earnestly. "Everyone is equal before the law, and whoever commits a crime must be punished. Thank you for your understanding," I said gratefully. I quickly adapted to my new job position. Although the work in the publicity department is busy, it is very meaningful. I am responsible for writing some promotional materials about anti-corruption and integrity, which makes me feel that my experience has value. If my story can serve as a warning to more people and prevent them from repeating the same mistakes, then it is all worth it. In his spare time, Jong Ji-Yuan often talked with me heart to heart. He is a very thoughtful person, and we share similar views on many issues. Gradually, I found myself developing feelings for him, but I was very cautious. After all, I had just gone through a failed marriage. "Sui, don't lose faith in love just because of one failure," Jong Ji-Yuan said understandingly. "Not all men are like Tobias Shin. I know, I just need time, I replied honestly. I'm willing to wait, he said gently. No matter how long it takes, I'm willing to wait. His words sent a warm current flowing through my heart. Perhaps I can truly start over. Just as I was gradually emerging from the shadows, an unexpected piece of news shattered the peace. Lena Fang was in trouble. After her father was sentenced, she suffered a severe mental breakdown and turned to alcohol and drugs. On a rainy night, he died instantly after drunkenly crashing his car into a large tree. Hearing this news, I felt a mix of emotions. Although Lena Fang had once hurt me, seeing her come to such an end still left me with some mixed feelings. If she hadn't been greedy for wealth and hadn't interfered in my marriage, perhaps she would still be alive and well today. Unfortunately, there are no what ifs in this world. Lena Fang's death has further strengthened my belief. One must always have principles and a bottom line. Never strive for what does not belong to you, because in the end, it harms not only others but also oneself. Upon hearing the news of Lena Fang's death in prison, Tobias Shin completely broke down. It is said that he cried uncontrollably for 3 days and nights in prison, nearly losing his sanity. When I heard this news, I felt not a shred of sympathy in my heart. This is the retribution he deserves. When he chose to betray me, he should have foreseen this day coming. Now it's too late for regrets. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, a year has passed. Over the past year, my life has undergone significant changes. At work, I performed exceptionally well in the publicity department and received praise from my superiors on multiple occasions. The anti-corruption advocacy materials I wrote were republished by several newspapers, creating a substantial impact in society. On a personal level, my relationship with Jong Ji-eun has been steadily progressing. He is a very considerate person, never rushing me, always silently accompanying me. Gradually, my fondness for him grew deeper and deeper. Sui, I want to formally propose to you. On a spring afternoon with flowers in full bloom, Jong Ji-eun said to me earnestly. Looking into his sincere eyes, a warm current surged in my heart. Ji-eun, I hesitated a bit. Although I have feelings for him, my previous failure still leaves me with some fear of marriage. I know what you're worried about, Jong Ji-eun said gently, but please believe me, I'm not Tobias Shin. I will love and protect you for the rest of my life. I need to think about it, I said honestly. It's okay, take your time to think it over, Jong Ji-eun said considerately. Whatever your decision is, I'll respect it. That night, I spent a long time thinking alone at home. In my past life, I ended up lonely and old because of Tobias Shin's betrayal. This time around, heaven has given me a chance to start anew, and I should cherish it. Jong Ji-eun is a good man, worthy of my trust. The next day, I gave him my answer. Ji-eun, I'm willing to marry you. Hearing my words, Jong Ji-eun was so excited he nearly jumped up. Really, Sui? Are you really willing to marry me? Yes, I nodded, but I have one condition. What condition? Just say it. I hope our marriage will be equal and mutually respectful. No matter what difficulties we face, we must be honest with each other and face them together. Of course. Jong Ji-eun agreed without hesitation. This has always been my thought as well. Our wedding is set for autumn. After the news broke, it caused quite a stir. Some congratulated me for finding true happiness, while others questioned whether remarrying so quickly was too hasty. I chose to ignore these comments. My life is my own to lead, others have no right to meddle. Just as we were preparing for the wedding, another unexpected piece of news arrived. Tobias Shin had an incident in prison. He couldn't accept reality and developed mental issues, so he's now been sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. Hearing this news, I felt no ripple of emotion in my heart. This was his own doing. He can't blame anyone else. Surprisingly, after hearing the news, Shin's mother actually came looking for me. Sui, please go see Tobias, she begged me tearfully. He looks utterly pitiful right now. Aunt Shin, we no longer have any connection, I said coldly. His affairs are none of my concern, but he keeps calling your name every day, saying he wants to see you one last time. Mrs. Shin continued pleading, just this once. Okay. After a moment of silence, I replied, impossible. I've moved on with my new life and want no further entanglement with the past. Mother Shin looked at me despairingly. Sui, are you really showing no mercy at all? Mercy, I sneered. Did he show any mercy when he betrayed me? Did he show any mercy when he and Lena Fang plotted against me? Mother Shen was left speechless by my words. Mother Shen, let bygones be bygones, I said finally. I hope you can understand. With that, I turned and walked away. I know this might seem somewhat heartless, but I have to protect myself. Some wounds, once inflicted, can never be healed. I can't reopen old scars in the name of so-called mercy. The wedding took place as scheduled. That day, many leaders from the military district came, along with my colleagues and friends. Lin Das Han, as my family representative, was moved to tears. Little sister, you finally found true happiness, he said, patting my shoulder. Yes, brother. I looked at the handsome groom beside me, my heart filled with happiness. Zhong Jiyuan said affectionately at the wedding, Sui, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I swear, I will love you, protect you, and make you happy for the rest of my life. Listening to his vows, I believed that this time, my choice was right. After the wedding, we went to Hainan for our honeymoon. Under that vast blue sky and sea, I finally let go of the past completely. The pain of past lives has become history. And the happiness of this life is just beginning. Standing by the sea, I shouted into the distance, Tobias Shen, thank you for helping me understand what true love is. Now, I am truly happy. The sea breeze blew by, as if carrying away all the pain and resentment. I know that a new life begins from this moment. Married life has been very happy. Zhong Jiyuan is indeed a good husband, considerate in every way, never letting me suffer the slightest grievance. At work, we support each other and make progress together. In life, we treat each other with respect and love as deeply as ever. This is the kind of marriage I want. Equal, respectful, and sincere. It stands in stark contrast to my previous marriage. 6 months after getting married, I became pregnant. Upon hearing the news, Zhong Jiyuan was as happy as a child. Sui, we're going to have our own child. He excitedly spun me around in his arms. I was overjoyed too. This child is the fruit of our love and the hope of a new life. During the pregnancy, Zhong Jiyuan took even more meticulous care of me. Every day, he would prepare nutritious meals for me, accompany me on walks, and tell me jokes. Watching his busy figure, my heart was filled with gratitude. This is true love. Not possession, not exploitation, but companionship and protection, just as I was immersed in happiness. An unexpected piece of news shattered the peace. Tobias Shen is dead. He hanged himself in the mental hospital. I was stunned for a long time upon hearing the news. Although I had long since lost any feelings for him, hearing about his death still stirred some complex emotions in my heart. After all, we were once in love. Sui, are you okay? Zhong Jiyuan asked with concern. It's nothing, just feeling a bit sentimental. I shook my head. Life is truly unpredictable. Yes. That's why we should cherish the happiness we have now, Zhong Jiyuan said, holding my hand. I nodded. You're right. Tobias Shen's death felt more like the end of an era to me. It marked my complete farewell to the past, stepping out of the shadows for good. From now on, I will only look forward, never turning back. I didn't attend Tobias Shen's funeral. I saw no need. Our connection had long since ended. It was actually Shen's mother who found me, hoping I would go see him one last time. Sui. He was still holding your wedding photo when he passed, Shen's mother said through tears. He was thinking of you until the very end. Hearing this, a wave of complicated emotions surged within me, but I still refused. Aunt Shen, the departed is gone. Let him rest in peace, I said calmly. I have a new life now and don't want any ties to the past. Mrs. Shen left in disappointment. I knew she hated me, thinking me heartless and ungrateful, but I didn't care. Life is too short for me to compromise my own happiness just to cater to others' feelings. I want to live well for my child, for my husband, and for myself. A few months later, my son was born. Looking at this adorable little life, my heart was filled with emotion. He is so pure, so beautiful, symbolizing new hope. He looks a lot like you, Zhong Jiyuan said gently. Really? I stroked the child's cheek softly. I hope he grows up healthy and happy. He will. We'll give him the best of everything. Zhong Jiyuan said firmly. We thought for a long time when naming our child. In the end, we decided to name him Zhong Guangming, hoping his life would be filled with brightness and hope. This name also carries our beautiful expectations for the future. After having a child, our lives have become more fulfilling. It's tiring, But it's also very fulfilling. Watching the child grow day by day and listening to him babble as he learns to speak makes all the effort worthwhile. Jong Ji-eun is a great father. He often plays games with the child and tells stories. The happy life of a family of 3 is exactly what I've always wanted. On our child's first birthday, we held a small celebration, looking at the table full of dear friends and family, seeing the genuine smiles on their faces. My heart was filled with gratitude. I am grateful to the heavens for giving me a second chance at life, allowing me to have such happiness. Sui, you are truly happy now, Lin Das-han said, patting my shoulder. I'm so happy for you. Yes, bro, I looked at the child in my arms. I'm truly content now. Just then, someone mentioned Tobias Shin. Did you hear that Tobias Shin died? Yes, he committed suicide in the mental hospital. Serves you right, that's what you get for betraying your wife. Hearing these comments, I felt nothing inside. That was a long time ago and has nothing to do with my life now. Now, I only care about my husband, my child, and my family. Everything else no longer matters. At night, after the child fell asleep, Jong Ji-eun and I sat on the balcony chatting. Sui, do you regret it? Jong Ji-eun suddenly asked. Regret what? Regretting marrying me, regretting choosing this kind of life. I held his hand. Silly, how could I regret it? You've given me true happiness. I'm nothing but grateful. That's good to hear. Jong Ji-eun sighed in relief. I always worry I'm not good enough for you. Don't talk nonsense. I chided him with a look. We chose each other. There's no question of who's worthy of whom. Yes, we are the perfect match, Jong Ji-eun said with a smile, gazing at the star-filled sky. My heart was filled with emotion. Life is truly wondrous. The pain of my past life has made me cherish happiness even more in this one. Had I never experienced betrayal, I might never have understood what true love really is. Had I not experienced despair, I might never have learned to cherish everything I have now. Therefore, I am grateful for all the past experiences, including those painful memories. They are what shaped me into who I am today and brought me the happiness I now possess. 5 years later, my life has completely stabilized. Jong Ji-eun was promoted to head of the Municipal Party Committee's propaganda department, and I became the deputy director. Our son Jong Gwangming has already started elementary school. He is bright, lively, and excels in his studies. Our family of 3 lives in a cozy little home, filled with laughter and joy every day. That afternoon, while I was working in the office, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Come in. The door opened, and to my surprise, a strange young woman entered. She appeared to be in her 20s, with delicate features, but her eyes held a weariness that belied her age. Excuse me, are you Sui Shin? She asked timidly. Yes, I am, and you are. My name is Shin Xiaoyu. I'm Tobias Shin's younger sister. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. Hearing that name, my heart skipped a beat. Tobias Shin has a sister. How come I never knew about this? Noticing my confusion, Shin Xiaoyu quickly explained. I'm my brother's half-sister from the same father. I grew up in another city and rarely came back. Oh, I see. I nodded. What brings you here? Shin Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment before taking an envelope out of her bag. This is a letter my brother left for you. Before he died, he had someone deliver it to me, insisting I hand it to you personally. I stared at the envelope, a mix of emotions churning inside me. Tobias Shin has been dead for 5 years, and now there's still a letter for me. Take it away. I don't want to see it. I pushed the envelope aside. Sister, please, just take a look. Shin Xiaoyu suddenly knelt down. My brother said there's something very important in this letter, something that concerns your safety. My safety. I froze. Yes. My brother said there are still many secrets about what happened back then, and someone has been secretly watching you. Hearing this, a wave of unease rose in my heart. Although I don't want to have anything to do with Tobias Shin anymore, if it really concerns my safety, I can't ignore it. Alright, let me see. I took the envelope. Opening the envelope, inside was a very long letter, along with some photos and documents. The beginning of the letter read, Sui, by the time you read this letter, I may already be dead. I know you hate me, and I also know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness again. But there are some things I must tell you. I continued reading, growing more and more shocked with each line. It turns out that the corruption case back then wasn't just about Deputy Commander Fang and Tobias Shun. Behind it was an even larger interest group, involving multiple key figures from the military, local government, and business circles. Tobias Shin and Deputy Commander Fang were merely scapegoats for this group. The real masterminds behind the scenes remain at large to this day. What's even more terrifying, the letter stated, is that this group has been monitoring you because you know too much. Once the time is right, they might come after you. Reading this, I couldn't help but gasp in shock. If this is true, then haven't I been in danger all along? I continued reading, and the letter listed in detail the members of this interest group along with their criminal evidence. The evidence is shocking, involving sums of money and the scale of personnel that far exceeded my imagination. I left you this evidence not for you to seek revenge for me, but in hopes that you can protect yourself. The letter concluded, if you ever find yourself in danger, this evidence might save your life. After reading the letter, my hands were trembling. If all of this is true, then the peaceful life I've lived all these years has been nothing but an illusion. Sister, are you okay? Shin Xiaoyu asked with concern. Are all these true? I asked her while holding the letter. I don't know the specific contents, but my brother repeatedly told me before he died that I must deliver this letter to you. Shin Xiaoyu said. He said it was the only right thing he had done in his life. I remained silent for a long time, my mind racing with thoughts. If this evidence is real, what should I do? Should I continue pretending to know nothing, or should I hand this evidence over to the organization? But what if this is Tobias Shin's scheme, trying to drag me down even after his death? Sis, my brother also said one more thing. Shin Xiaoyu suddenly spoke up. What do you mean? He said, if you don't believe this evidence, you can look into some of the unexpected incidents that have happened around you in recent years. Hearing this, a chill ran through my heart. In recent years, some strange things have indeed happened around me. For instance, a colleague of mine suddenly died in a car accident, or a friend was inexplicably transferred to another city, or strangers frequently appeared near my home. At the time, I thought these were all coincidences. But looking back now, they do seem rather suspicious. You should go back first. I need to carefully consider these things, I said to Shin Xiaoyu. Alright, sis. Shin Xiaoyu stood up. If you need any help, feel free to contact me anytime. She left her contact information and then walked away. I sat alone in the office, staring at the letters and documents on the desk, feeling utterly overwhelmed. If all of this is true, what should I do? Should I continue living this peaceful life, or stand up and fight for justice? But now, I have a husband and children, and it's my duty to protect their safety. If I act recklessly, might I end up putting them in danger? That night, I couldn't sleep. This question kept replaying in my mind. In the end, I made my decision, no matter how great the risks. I must hand over this evidence to the organization, because this is not just about my personal safety, but also the interests of countless innocent people. If those corrupt individuals continue to evade justice, even more people will suffer. As a party member, it is my duty to stand up. Early the next morning, I went to the Military District's Disciplinary Inspection Commission. Old Wang, I have important information to report, I said as I found Director Wang, who had handled the case back then. Comrade Sui, what's the matter? Old Wang asked with concern. I handed him the letter and evidence brought by Shin Xiaoyu. These were left by Tobias Shin before his death, said to contain inside information about the case from back then. Old Wang examined them carefully, his expression growing increasingly grave. If this evidence is genuine, then the situation is far more serious than we thought, he said solemnly. Do you think it's credible? I asked. On the surface, the evidence seems quite detailed, with specific times, locations, and individuals clearly stated, Old Wang analyzed. But we need to verify it further. What should I do then? You go back home first and carry on with your normal life. We'll investigate these leads discreetly, Old Wang instructed. Remember, don't breathe a word about this to avoid alerting the target. I nodded. I understand. After leaving the disciplinary inspection committee, I pretended on the surface that nothing had happened and continued with my normal work and life, but deep down, I was restless with anxiety. That night, I told Zhong Jiyuan about the matter. What? How could this be? He was utterly shocked. Yes, so we need to be more careful, I said worriedly. What if someone really is watching us? Don't be afraid, I'm here. Zhong Jiyuan held my hand. No matter what happens, I'll protect you and our child, I know. But I'm still worried about dragging you into this. What nonsense are you talking about? Jong Ji-eun said seriously. We are family, and we should face any difficulties together. With my husband's support, I felt slightly more at ease. In the following days, I carefully observed everything around me. Sure enough, I noticed some unusual things. A black sedan is always parked downstairs at my place, with unfamiliar men sitting inside. On my way to and from work, I often see the same few people. It seems Tobias Shin's words might be true. I'm really being watched. 1 week later, Director Wang contacted me in secret. Comrade Sui, the leads you provided are very valuable, he said with excitement in his voice. We've verified some of the information, and there is indeed a vast corruption network. So what do we do now? I asked nervously. The higher-ups have decided to form a special task force to conduct a thorough investigation into this case, Director Wang said. But we'll need your cooperation. How do we coordinate? You need to continue living normally while secretly gathering more evidence. Won't this be dangerous? I asked worriedly. There is indeed some risk, but we'll protect you throughout the process, Director Wang assured. Moreover, this is the only way to completely dismantle this corruption network. I thought it over and said, all right, I'm willing to cooperate. Excellent. Director Wang shook my hand. Comrade Sui, you have once again made a contribution to the party and the people. From that day on, subtle changes began to take place in my life. On the surface, everything seemed normal, but beneath it all, a silent war was being waged. I began to pay attention to and collect relevant information as required by the task force. Soon, I discovered some clues. For example, a leader in our unit suddenly had a lot of money recently, bought a luxury car, and moved into a bigger house. For example, there were obvious irregularities in the bidding process of some construction projects. For example, behind the personnel changes in some key positions, there was a common driving force. I reported these findings one by one to the task force, who then conducted further investigations and gathered evidence. 2 months passed like this, and finally, the task force had collected enough evidence. Comrade Sui, it's time to close the net. Director Wang excitedly told me. Really, I was also excited. Yes, this time we're going to catch them all in one sweep, leaving these corrupt individuals with nowhere to hide. Sure enough, shocking news came the very next day. The public security authorities conducted simultaneous arrest operations in multiple locations, capturing all the key members of this corruption network in one fell swoop. The sheer number of people involved, the enormous sum of money, and the egregious impact of this case shocked the entire nation. The media dubbed it the biggest corruption case since the founding of New China, and once again, I became a key witness in this case. However, this time, I had ample experience and handled it with ease. In the courtroom, I calmly stated the facts and presented the evidence. Watching those once high and mighty corrupt individuals now in such a sorry state, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. Justice may be delayed, but it will never be absent. In the end, the principal offender in this case was sentenced to death, and all other involved parties received the legal punishments they deserved. As for me, due to my outstanding contributions in the anti-corruption campaign, I was promoted to the position of director of the Municipal Party Committee's propaganda department. Jong Ji-eun was also transferred to work at the provincial level because of his excellent performance. Our family's life has reached a new level. More importantly, through this incident, I completely severed the last remaining ties to my past. Those who were monitoring me have been caught, and all threats to my safety have been eliminated. I can finally live with true peace of mind. That night, I stood on the balcony, gazing at the distant lights, filled with emotion. It has been 10 years since my rebirth. Over the past decade, I have experienced betrayal, pain, struggle, and rebirth. Ultimately finding my own happiness. With my courage and wisdom, I not only changed my own fate but also contributed to the progress of society. This is the life I want, not just to live for myself, but also to fight for justice. Mom, what are you thinking about? My son Jong Guangming walked over and took my hand. Mommy is thinking about the future, I said, stroking his head, thinking about how wonderful our tomorrow will be. What kind of tomorrow will that be? My son asked curiously. It will be a tomorrow full of sunshine, a tomorrow without deceit and betrayal, a tomorrow where everyone can live happily. I said softly, "That sounds wonderful." My son said with a smile, "I want to work hard for a tomorrow like that too." "Okay, let's work hard together." I held him tightly.